What's up, guys? Eric Klaus, Interstate Ninja here. Just want to thank everyone who came out to Fayetteville Comic Con this weekend. We had an absolute blast this weekend. It was great. Potsy, Billy, and I, and Chris Campana for a hot minute were next to DJ Clash all weekend. So I had to yell the whole time to be to be able to talk to people. So my voice is trash right now. Can't talk. I lost it. Anyway, we want to talk about the ash can that we made just for the show. Mike and Q and I were hanging out, and Q thought it would be a great idea to make this black and white introduction to Ninjas and Robots, especially since we've got issue 8 coming out at the end. Actually coming out on Wednesday of this week. Issue 8 drops. We have the trade, which collects issues 1 through 6. Comes out next month, and that'll be available at all major booksellers. It's on Amazon if you want to pre-order it. Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, it'll be in Target, Walmart, etc., etc., etc. So we're super stoked about that, super excited. But we thought this would be fun. We thought this would be cool. And back when I was at the Kubert School, Krager had us make these mini comics. It was one of our assignments. And this was my very first mini comic. I had never made one, tried one, done one up to this point. And so this is essentially an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, folded, cut, stapled to make 8 pages, right? And actually I still have the original Bristol board, the 11 by 17 board that I did the first comic on. And this was a creative retelling of how I met my wife. And there's a lot of heated debate between the two of us about who spoke to whom first. And I swear it was me, and she swears it was she, and there you go. But anyway, in the comic, I talked to her first because I wrote it and I drew it and whatever. But it was cool, right? So the possibilities are there, and it's pretty neat. So I was thinking to myself, how can I do that, but bigger, but better, but more? And so the idea came to do that. If that worked for 8.5 by 11, why not 11 by 17? And all my original art boards, and everything are always done on 11 by 17. So I thought, why not? So I took a piece of paper, and I folded it 3 times. Right? So you fold it in half, you fold it in half, you fold it in half again. And then I went through and just with a Sharpie and just was like, all right, this is page 1, this is page 2, this is page 3. And that way I would know kind of the order it needed to be in. And then I put it on here just so I wouldn't forget. So you got side A and side B, you got front, you got back. And it tells you like which way that page needs to be facing, whether it's upside down or right side up, and then what the number is. And so then these pages were obviously done. This is Ninjas and Robots number 1. So let's see if I have one laying around here. So yeah, this comic is done. This is the variant. Kevin Eastman and I collaborated on this beauty. But so it's done, and so I desaturated this, right, to make it black and white. And I pulled the individual pages then into Clip Studio and kind of put them in the right format to keep in mind the needed space. So you got to keep in mind, you got to fold these pages, right? You got to trim them. You got to make sure none of your text, the word balloons, are too close to the trim areas because you don't want to cut any of that off. So it's all part of the design element, but this was already drawn, this was already done, so I put it in there, and front and back, and then I printed it, and I folded it, right? Jim Rugg has some really cool YouTube videos about making zines, about making mini comics. And so he has all the tools that you need, stapler, paper cutter, the bone, folder, whatever. It's all on his video. And so I watched I watched it again. I've seen it a while ago, but it was actually really pertinent to what I was doing. So I pulled it up again and watched it and applied that. And so you fold it how you want it. You take your cover, and I was able to get 2 covers per 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and just slice them in half, and then you've got one, and then you open it, you staple it, right? Boom, boom. Fold it, make it crisp, and then when you trim it ever so slightly around the edges, just to make it clean and neat, you also take off what holds that together so that then it opens like an actual comic book. So you've got 16 interior pages, a potential 4 more pages from the cover, so possibility of 20 pages there. It's pretty cool. You can do a lot with that. And as you know, your standard comic book issue is anywhere from 20 to 24 pages, so you can pretty much do a whole comic in this mini comic size. That's really cool. That's really neat. But that's how I did it. Experiment with it, play with it. If you guys come up with something new or interesting or fantastic, please let me know. I definitely think I'll make some more of these. For this one, I actually used my own studio, like, in-home printer for it. That was a mistake. Don't do it. Jim, and I had already done this by the time I watched Jim's video, but he sends all his pages off and gets them printed, right? And then they come back, cut to size, trim to size, and then he folds them, he staples them, which is still rad. It still has that handmade feel, but you don't use up all your ink. And ink on a home printer is expensive, and you know, they have better machines in these more commercial places. So do that if you can. If you just want to experiment, I'm sure there are copy shops in your town, Kinko's or UPS store or whatever, or you know, the library or whatever. But make it, try it, and I definitely think I want to do some more and make some more, and we'll definitely do this again. It was a neat little experiment. But thank you again to everyone that picked up one of these, everyone that came to the show, everyone that said hello. It's really amazing to be out there again, especially since the last show we did was 2019. This is the first show I've done with actual printed, published, not just self-published, but published comic books, and it was a good time. It was a really good time. So thank you guys. Have fun with this, and let me know. Let me see what you make when you make something. Cheers.